When the Valentines went to Melbourne, we found ourselves in a town that was very rock and roll. Melbourne's a very rock and roll town. There was a lot of competition. It was a hotbed of music in those days. And there was a lot of different bands were starting to write their own material. Bands were trying to make their own way, and it was highly, highly competitive. And we kind of lost our way, lost our roots a little bit, and it's fair to say sold out. At that same stage, there was, there was a lot of bubblegum music around from, people like the 1910 Fruit Gum Company and acts like that. And whilst we continued on with our covering of the songs that we liked, we also started to put in a smattering of, dinky songs, and before long garnered a very young teenage following. And we dressed accordingly. We changed our clothes, and we changed our image. It wasn't really us, but we changed it, and we were in such euphoria, at being in Melbourne and being in the eastern states and actually being out on the road and fulfilling our dreams, that we didn't really pay we didn't pay very much regard to what was happening to us as an image, and the way our music was changing. And so we became, along with many, many other bands, radio fodder with the music we recorded, and a lot of the songs we recorded then were crap. And nevertheless, it got us radio play, which then ignited us to be able to get booked to perform. And but after a while, after about 18 months of that, we started to get tired of it. And that kind of music itself started to peter out. And so we decided then to go to the other extreme, because although we'd had a couple of minor hit records, and most of the records we recorded that weren't dinky songs, that were good songs, were critically acclaimed, but we just didn't seem to be getting further ahead. And in those days, it wasn't like long-term careers like they are now. Bands hang around, if they're a short-term band, they hang around for 10 years, 12 years, that's it. But bands now have been around for 20, 30, 40 years. And then we thought the lifespan of a band was just a few short years. And I don't know whether that was a lack of belief in ourselves, or whether that was just a lack of being able to see the big picture. But that was our mind, or whether it was a lack of success, but that was our mindset. And so we decided to change back to what we were. Now that we'd received publicity, now that we were considered as one of the big bands of Australia, which we were, we decided to change back to our original format. We thought we could afford to do it. So we decided to get rid of our bass player and go three-piece, one guitar, one bass player who was the original rhythm guitarist, a drummer, and me and Bon out front. We thought it would look snappier. We thought we could go wilder. We got big Marshall amps, big stacks, and like Henry, just exactly like Jimmy, and then started reverting to our original material, scrapped all of our stuff, and we also got busted for smoking pot. And the reason why we got busted smoking pot was because when we decided to change our format, we decided to grab a big bag of cannabis and go down to a beach club down in near Geelong called the Jan Juc Surf Club, which we used to play there a lot, and we were in with the people in the surf club, and so we hired the surf club, it was during winter, for a week to try out all our new songs, which was some songs that we wrote ourselves, a lot of Led Zeppelin songs. So Led Zeppelin became our heroes, and we decided we'd need a week to scrap all of our material and get a whole new set and go back to where we started from and come back out again. No more uniforms, no more clothes, no more short hair. We'd just go with the flow of how we felt. In order to do so, we took down what we thought would be an inspiration for us, which was a bag of cannabis. And of course what happened was we got completely stoned for the week. We played, of course, we practiced every day. Unbeknownst to us, the bag of dope that we bought was bought by someone who snitched on us, dobbed us into the drug squad, who up on a hillside overlooking the Jan Juc Surf Club watched our antics daily and watched us get the dope out of the back of the amp, smoke it, until the night time playing, going down into our room, smoking bongs, whatever. And they were looking at us for a week. And on the 7th night, when we were completely stoned and about to get ready to go back to Melbourne, there was a knock on the surf club rooms where they had bunks, and where we all were polishing off the last of the dope with our bongs. And there was a knock on the door, and it was the drug squad. And they came in, and of course, we couldn't defend the situation. It was obvious what the situation was, and we were naive. And they booked us, and they didn't arrest us straight away, but they told us if we didn't appear at the police station the next day that they would arrest us and jail us. Well, of course, we did turn up, and we went to court. And we cited the fact that our defence was that the Beatles were our heroes, and we'd read that they'd smoked marijuana and it enhanced their music, so therefore it would enhance ours, which is why we did it, which of course didn't go down all that well with the judge. So we all got fined anyway. We were lucky to escape jail, but we got fined. And got a lot of publicity about that in the daily press. Pop group arrested on drugs in 1970 was, pretty hairy in Australia. And of course, people started to take interest in our views on pot then, and we gave pretty frank interviews, which was very pro-cannabis, which didn't go down well either. And remembering that we were changing our audience at the same time, I think it's fair to say that it instilled a fair amount of lack of confidence in what we were doing. Not smoking the pot, but being busted and being seen as a group that was busted on pot rather than what we were trying to do musically. And it confused the issue a little bit, and we lost our momentum and lost our drive. And then Bon and I started talking about it, we're going nowhere. We tried it out for 6 months, but we just, we were only being kept alive by publicity about pot, not by what we were doing, which was good, but we weren't playing at the right places, and, we got lost, basically. And so we got together, Bon and I, and decided that, and we felt we had the right to do it because we formed the band in the first place, that we would leave the band. And that we'd get on with our other things. And we announced it to the band. It didn't go down all that well, obviously, with them or with our management at that stage. But we felt it was for the best. And in hindsight, certainly in Bon's case, depending on what viewpoint you take, it was. And it was for everybody. We got on with our lives and stuff. And but that's what happened. That's how we broke up. That's why we broke up. And Bon immediately went to Sydney, and I immediately went to Adelaide, and the rest of the guys scattered all over the place. I think one of the guys went back to Perth, and the rest stayed and got into other forms of work within the industry.